Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody. Wherever you are listening to this webinar, we welcome you. So we are the Quantum Leadership Group, and today we're going to be talking to you about our quantum leadership system, and we're going to do an introduction to the overthinker. Now, who are we? I don't think you've probably heard of us before. We are very good at staying off the radar because we work mainly based on word of mouth. So we haven't needed to do much advertising so far. But we thought that our program has been so beneficial to so many people across the world that we would like to open that up. So we are starting a whole new system of programs, and this is a very brief introduction to what we can do. So we were founded a few years ago. Lots of us came together with the idea that corporate world has become incredibly toxic and horrendous. And there were so many people who were feeling the pain of working and weren't having any joy. It was working to live rather than living to work. So what we want to do as an organization is work with individuals, brands, big organizations, small organizations, to make the workplace a much nicer place to be. Now, this has benefits for everybody because not only does it mean that when you're spending most of your day sitting in an office or at your home, you're working for an organization that you truly believe in, and that brings far more joy than having the current rumdrum of hating your job, hating every minute that you spend there, and just wishing you were at home and could do something different. So what we've done and designed is a program whereby we bring the joy back. You understand why things happen, organizations understand why they've taken certain paths, and we help them change and fix it. This brings more joy to the organization, more profitability, more efficiency, more loyalty, less staff turnover, and it is a much nicer and happier place to be. So we work, as I say, with lots of different organizations. We are branching out now into working on a more individualized basis, and that's why we've set up these new programs, which we're going to kind of talk to you about today. So I've done enough kind of talking, but you'll see who I am. So I'm Krista Jones. So as I say, my career has been spent so far working in international sales. I've worked with organizations from Fred in a Shed startups all the way up to international global corporates that you would know and brand names that you would know and love. I spent a long time in a very competitive environment. And whilst I never got burnout, I started to hate what I was doing and started to question why I was doing what I was doing. I am an avid horse rider, and I was doing some sports psychology to kind of figure out some of my mindset stuff while I was at a competition. There were areas that I wanted to improve. And whilst I was doing that, I realized that there was a direct impact for me personally on what happened in terms of my performance, depending on the environment that I was working in. And I realized that some of the CEOs that I was working for and with were really limiting my performance because of the way they were treating me and my colleagues and the environment that they were creating. So I then started to study and look at what we can do outside of that. What can we do to influence that? Because actually, although I was working on myself, there was very little that I could influence externally. So that's why we've come together as a team to try and change some of the culture that people are finding themselves in so people can be their best selves and move forward. So I'm going to pass you on to Julia now. She'll do a brief introduction and then lead you through the rest of the presentation. So Julia, over to you.
Thanks, Krista. So hi guys, I'm Julia Fairfax. Brief intro to me. I began my professional life in Brussels. Then I was working in the city as a financial competitive intelligence analyst for the Hambro Company Guide. And then I worked in Hong Kong. And then I went into overseeing programs to develop levels of competitive intelligence within the pharmaceutical industry. And I was covering 26 countries. So working for a company based in the States. So I was your classic work hard, play hard. And because of the pressure in that field, it culminated in me burning out, and my burnout came in the form of cancer. So I was given 6 months to live. I didn't believe in anything. I was just the American dream personified. And I died on the operating table and was introduced to the fact that we are not alone here, and there is a much bigger picture than any of us can even begin to imagine. This then led me into studying how we heal and why we don't, because I was given the all clear. And so for the last 20 years, I've specialized in bringing people back from the brink, personally and professionally. I have worked with very high profile figures from the world of media, sport, city, and other industries. And work strictly under the radar, as we do as a group, because our job is not to be in the public eye. Our job is to deliver. So we enable you and your company and your staff to operate at the highest levels of personal and professional success, to ensure your organization is a place where everyone loves to work and where everyone succeeds to the best of their ability and enjoys their life. So we have all teamed up together, because all of us who've part of this organization, of which Krista and I are two of the co-founders, are bringing together a very wide perspective and unique set of skills to enable everyone to really, really be their authentic, real self, both personally and professionally. And these courses, these programs, are a lovely way of beginning to get to grips with your inner landscape, to transform it, so then your outer landscape reflects the transformation. So, Krista, that's it in a nutshell, really, isn't it?
It's amazing. On to today. So by the end of the session, we will have given you 3 tried and tested techniques to understand the gift of the overthinker. Now, what is that? So Julia, over to you. What is overthinking?
Okay, so in my professional and personal experience, everyone who's operating at a high level, and even, right down to everyone, we all suffer from the overthinker. It's an absolute core aspect of our inner landscape and causes untold havoc. When we're operating at a high octane level, it becomes even more pronounced and can destroy us from the inside out, not only personally, but professionally too. So the overthinker is one of the core modules of our programs. And fundamentally, it's the art of creating problems that weren't even there. The classic mountain out of the molehill. So the impact of the overthinker, when it takes over our mind, when it takes over our inner process, the fundamental fear is fear of abandonment. It's tied in with the belief that we're not good enough. And when it's left to run riot, we can end up with suicidal ideation, chronic fatigue syndrome, and these are just some of the symptoms. So fibromyalgia, sleep disorders, chronic relationship problems, self-defeating impulsive behaviors, ADD, ADHD, PTSD, eating disorders and body dysmorphia, episodes of rage and or violence, obsessive compulsive disorder, and borderline personality disorder. Because the overthinker comes from that fear of abandonment and rejection. So our inner self goes into overload and overdrive to try and negate potentially catastrophes or bad things from happening. So because it's tied in with running on adrenaline, we end up, hence chronic fatigue syndrome. Fibromyalgia is simply because of holding so much stress and tension, our body goes into overload. Every single physical symptom that we have is simply a reflection of what is going on emotionally and mentally. It is a symptom. ADD, ADHD, all of these issues are symptoms. They are not the root cause. And the overthinker is one of the core cornerstone actual roots that creates these symptoms. And our work is to help you heal the roots of what the overthinker does to you and how it manifests in your day-to-day life. So the key thing here to remember is we've all been programmed to believe and trust in our mind. However, our mind is a liar. It lies to us all the time. And when the overthinker is really running riot, it does this on steroids, creating a distorted belief system upon which you build your life and make key decisions. Let's give you a classic example. So you're doing a presentation at work, and on one level, your intuition is going, yeah, this is good. But your mind then starts going into the overthinker of, oh, but it's not, it's not, it's not. Now, I'm going to give you a personal example of this. One of the things I did when I was corporate was I made and broke the paramedic healthcare market because it had never been done. And I did it for the 26 countries of Europe. And when I finished it, it was a 6-month project, including financial projections for 5 years, segmenting the entire market. And this, as I said, had never been done before. So at the end of it, by the guys I did it for were absolutely thrilled, paid me a massive amount of money. So several years later, one of the bosses got in touch with me saying, you know, we need you back. And my first thought was, oh dear God, that project was awful and they want their money back. Because I, like many, have had the overthinker playing havoc in my life. And of course, it wasn't that at all. This had been so hugely successful. I've been headhunted to do even more stuff for them. So that's an example of how damaging and what a liar the mind can be, destroying our sense of worth, our sense of achievement, and being able to actually have any joy in anything that we do. So why does the overthinker exist? Above all, in my experience of working with people for the last 20 years, in this being one of the core issues, much of it stems from childhood abuse. Now, that doesn't it doesn't mean that it has to be, you know, that you've been through the most appalling hell. It can simply be school dynamics, for example. But however, for many of us, there has been intense childhood abuse and we cannot ignore that. But what we tend to do is bury it. Every single one of us on this planet suffers from intergenerational trauma because our parents have been traumatized, our grandparents were traumatized. Everyone is carrying behavioral patterns that do not serve our highest and best good, that do not honor us as the incredible beings that we really are. Sibling rivalry, you know, being beaten up by your brothers and your sisters, being made fun of when we're a sensitive little child. This can really instill beliefs we make about ourselves that we're not enough, or that we're not loved, or that we are isolated and there's nothing and no one here for us. Bullying and school dynamics, well, we all know the toxicity and the damage they do. Parental issues. Now, this is not about a name and blame game. This is about taking responsibility with love and compassion and understanding that we are all works in progress and everyone is in recovery. Societal pressures. You know, we love the advertising industry, but we know what it's based on, which is to make us feel that unless we buy X, Y, or Z, we are insufficient. Expectations of family and friends, our own expectations of how and what and where and we are meant to be. And so then if we feel our expectations are slipping, we then go into overcompensating. We overcompensate on every level by trying to be the hostess with the mostess or the host with the most. We overcompensate at work by pushing ourselves far harder than we ever need to be and never, ever taking pleasure because perfectionism kicks in. And when you've got the overthinker utilizing the perfectionist card, nothing Nothing we ever do, personally or professionally, is good enough. So we don't believe that we are worthy of being loved. We don't believe we deserve happy relationships. We don't believe we deserve to succeed, even though others outside of us look at us and go, oh my God, that person is ridiculous. But it sucks the love, it sucks the joy out of your day-to-day life, and then turns you into a control freak. Because when we're coming from the overthinker, we feel that we are an imposter, that nothing we do has any validity to it whatsoever. And sooner or later, people are going to find out we're an imposter, and then we are screwed. So the imposter syndrome is the core component of the overthinker. So the overthinker is constantly going, right, how do I get through this? How do I make this? How do I do this? Like an out of control bolting horse or a very fast train. Because when we feel we're an imposter, we're always having to overcompensate and overthink and outthink our way through every situation at home and in the workplace. So here's a classic example of how the overthinker manifests in our thought process. So it's the absolute black and white. There is no gray. It's, you know, the feeling that no one likes you, which then makes you feel that you're unlovable and that you're going to be alone forever, that no one will ever love you, no one will ever want to be with you, and you are a loser. Then another example, I have no money, I will be poor and struggle forever. So it's this absolute negativity that begins to take a hold of us. And it's all about also what other people think of us, because a core aspect of our conditioning process has been to the need for approval, the need for acceptance by others. And when we are locked in that belief that we need approval and acceptance by anything or anyone outside of you, it is the absolute fertile ground for the overthinker, because the overthinker then kicks in going, well, you know, I missed out on that, you know, missing out on a promotion. That means obviously I'm hated. And this terrible, terrible, overwhelming negativity of the mind creates the belief and the practice of you will never be happy. And bearing in mind, most of us go through school being told that we're pretty useless, or that if we are successful, then that places even more pressure on us. So we're constantly stuck between a rock and a hard place. So moving forward, that gives you a brief understanding of how the overthinker manifests in our day-to-day life. Now, in terms of how one comes to deal with this, when you choose to work with us, we will give you far more techniques and tools to be able to turn the overthinker into a real magic gift. But just as a brief taster, a way that you can begin to work with it is see yourself becoming a detached observer. So rather than engaging with all of the thought process that goes through your mind, step back, take a slow, deep breath, and see it as a babbling brook. So rather than hooking in to one of the thoughts, whatever they may be, just step back and observe. And the more you observe, the quieter that babbling overthinker will become. This then slows the spinning. And you can then begin to check your thoughts and notice the signs or the triggers that set the overthinker off. It's usually down to feeling pressured, having to deliver, feeling overwhelmed, and it can be triggered either professionally or personally. So begin to notice the signs, begin to notice what is it that triggers the overthinker. And a great thing to do is get a journal and begin to journal what is really going on. So by journaling the thoughts, by journaling the triggers and the signs, you can then begin to reframe your thoughts. So rather than going into, I am useless, worthless, and I'm never going to amount to anything, breathe back in and take a moment to reflect on the fact that underneath all of that, we always have things to be grateful for. No matter how little, the fact that you may have really good health, the fact that you may live somewhere really beautiful, even not, you can go to a park and look at the beauty of nature. Step back out of your mind and go into nature. Nature is one of the greatest healing gifts that we have available to us. And just look at things that make you smile. Look at the beauty of life and slow the breath. This will then give you the opportunity to begin to redirect your thoughts, because then you'll become aware that there is no one outside of you telling you that you're worthless, useless, and don't deserve success. This is purely your inner dialogue. So obviously our sleep gets completely blown out when we're an overthinker. And in the module, we will teach you how to break negative sleep patterns, release old emotions, and overall become a more accurate observer of self. So now we're just going to do a real gentle, easy exercise to begin the process of recovery. So wherever you are, I just want you to sit with your feet on the ground and your back straight and just get comfy. If you wish, you can lie down and get really comfy. Wherever, however, within your space where you feel safe and where you will not be disturbed for the next few minutes. So just take a moment to get into that space where you feel comfy and you feel safe. And then I just want you to place one hand over the other, over your chest. Now, in energy medicine, in our energy anatomy, this is called the heart chakra, and it incorporates our physical heart. So just placing one hand over the other, I just want you to take a couple of nice, slow, deep breaths. And as you inhale, you are inhaling into your heart space. And as you exhale, you're going to begin to let go of all of the tightness, the tension, the hypervigilance, the overthinking, and just focus on your breath. And as you breathe into your heart, I'd like you to begin to think of something or someone that you love. And as you begin to think and feel into the love, feel this love. Feel that energy under your hands, because love is an energy all of its own. And the Heart Math Institute has done research to prove the heart is our real brain. So breathing into your heart space, now begin to turn your awareness and your focus and your intent from looking out to looking in. And drop it down to the heart. So now as you breathe into this love, you may begin to feel a warmth or a tingling underneath your hands. And as you exhale, imagine this love beginning to spread all the way through you like liquid nectar. Because if you have an active overthinker, there is no love for self, which is where all the anxiety and all the tension turns into that terrible vicious circle. So just breathing into the love, exhaling, allow it to spread through you like liquid nectar. And then I want you to imagine that there are roots growing from your feet, like a tree, like a plant, going all the way down into the earth. And they connect to the most beautiful heart-shaped ruby, which is a symbol of the love that exists for us, surrendering to a bigger picture. So just breathing into this beautiful ruby love and allowing that to come all the way back up through you, bringing with it everything you need to receive right here, right now, nourishing, nurturing, healing. healing your soul, healing your mind, healing your body. And you're just going to allow yourself to relax even deeper into this space of love. And as you do this with your intent and your focus into your heart, you're going to begin to tell yourself these words. I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. So telling your mind, your body, your soul, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And just keep that practice going for as long as you need. Because the first step of transformation is forgiveness and coming back to this place of love. Healing the separation that the overthinker has created. And then when you're ready, taking a nice, slow, deep breath. Understanding why, with love and compassion and not judgment, why the overthinker exists. Because fundamentally, it's a form of self-protection. To try and keep you safe, to try and keep you protected, to try and keep you functioning. So breathing into the overthinker, giving him or her the reassurance and the love that we understand, we forgive, and we can begin to heal. And taking one final slow, deep breath, feel yourself anchored in the beauty and the wonder that this magical planet of ours really is. Taking your awareness into the sunshine, into the rain, into the storms, into the trees and the flowers and all the incredible animals that share our space, and all the people we love. But most of all, turning the awareness and focus into you, beginning to recognize that you are worthy of love too. So taking a final slow, deep breath, feel how much more relaxed you are. Feel how much softer you feel and how much quieter the mind has become. And with one final slow, deep breath, you're safe, you're grounded, and you're back in the room with this affirmation. I can now begin to become my own best friend. We're taking a slow, deep breath. Feel this statement within. I can now begin to become my own best friend. And just take a moment to think about the people in your life. Would you ever treat them the way you treat yourself in terms of your inner mental landscape? So know now it's time to begin to befriend you and heal the overthinker. And now with one final slow, deep breath, you're back and the exercise has ended. Please use your journal to write down anything that has come through. Thank you.
Julia, you are simply amazing. Every time I do that, I am stunned at the effect that it has on my body. So thank you for me as well. And I hope everybody else has found some benefit from that. I'd be very surprised if you haven't. So now on to what's next. So today has just been a very, very small taster of what you can expect to see from the Quantum Leadership Gold Print system. So we have 3 different programs. Actually, we have 4. 3 standardized programs, and then we have a bespoke program as well. So we start with step 1, which is Inception. So this is a 3-week program. Now, you can choose each step along the way. You don't have to do one, then another, then another. But Inception gives you an amazing taster of what is possible. So this is 3 modules that we pick for you based on what you tell us you want and need. And then we have a breakthrough session. Now, this one has a single breakthrough session. With the other programs, there are multiple sessions. And the idea of this is that we can help guide you through this. So this just isn't just solo practice, although this is a great opportunity to learn and get your behavior conditioned in a way that you are taking responsibility for this. We can't do the work for you. We can only guide you to where you need to be. So you do some self practice, and then this breakthrough session with one of the quantum leadership team, and we ask for an investment of £2,250 for that. The next step, or the next option, is awakening. So this is a 6-week program. Now, again, you've got 6 modules, and we work with you to pick the right modules for you. And as part of that, you have 3 one-to-one sessions, so these breakthrough sessions. This is designed for someone who wants to go to the next level. So you may have done a little bit of work on yourself before, and you're looking to take that next step forward. This is a more deep dive, a bit more interactive, a bit more of an expectation of where you want to be and where you can go. And again, this is a slightly higher investment of £4,500 moving forward. And then the final step, emergence. Now, you can go all in with emergence. So this is a 14-week program, and this has been designed to do everything. We are going deeper here. This is for you to really understand your inner world, your outer world, where you fit, how your mind works, how your body works, and how you can influence those and really change and make your life a magnificent place to be. Now, on this 14-week program, there are 14 modules, and there are 7 one-to-one sessions, so these breakthrough sessions. So this is really the elite program. The expectation is that this is intense and transformational, and you really get to have that one-to-one interaction with the quantum leadership team. And the investment for that is £8,750. And then the final piece is this bespoke program. So this has been tailored just for you. Now, we've designed this and we've worked on this with organizations, but it can be molded and changed for key decision makers, a leader, any high flyer, an entrepreneur, anybody who wants to look and say, okay, this program is great, but what I want to do, I want to take the next level, or I've got a very specific problem that I want to solve. So this is a real deep dive program. It will give you the tools and the techniques and all of the skills that you need to perform and deliver at the highest level. So this is a huge opportunity to seriously transform everything about your life and how you are influencing others' lives. So that's why this is so key for those key decision makers and leaders, because you are influencing other people around you. And if you're not in tune with what's going on, then you are going to be impacting way more than just yourself. So this is a key accountability program and will make your life better, but also the lives of people around you better. Now, as I say, these are totally bespoke, and these programs start at around £50,000. So please get in touch with us. They are totally bespoke. We need to have conversations with you and work through lots of things behind the scenes. So get in touch and have a conversation with us, and we can talk to you about how this can benefit you. So as a thank you for coming with us on this journey today, we've set up an offer. So if you quote overthinker22, you will get a massive discount on some of the programs. So you can see here, we've discounted Inception, we've discounted Awakening, we've discounted Emergence, and you get a huge 10% off all of the bespoke programs. So, as a minimum saving, just of listening to this webinar, you've saved £250. So please do get in touch with us. There are lots of ways you can do that, and we'll put those on the slide at the end. But if you don't believe us and you haven't felt enough benefit today, which I'm sure you have, we wanted to share a testimonial from someone who's been through this, who's gone through the process. Now, this person is a CEO. They currently work in the IT industry. And as with anything that we do, everything is confidential. So this is the only information we will share. But the testimonial that came from him says the Quantum Leadership Group Awakening program, so he did the middle program, was amazing. I started with a slight doubt that I could change my life in 6 weeks, but it happened even faster than that. Good things just fell into my life as if by magic, and negative influences melted away, which made me so much happier without even noticing. Just incredible. So think of the impact that something like this could have in your life. Would you like to be happier? Would you like to have more money, more happiness, more love? You know, all of those things, it's possible if you start doing some of our program and the work that we do. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. I've put all of our contact details on here. We are on social media, so you can check us out on Instagram at QuantumLG. QuantumLeadershipGroup.co.uk is our website, and you can get in touch with us via email as well. So I put Julia and my email addresses on here. So if there's anything you want, any questions you've got, please do get in touch with us, and we would be delighted to speak to you. Even if it's just, you know, a nice chat about the day. We would love to make more contact with people outside. So if we can help you, please do get in touch. And it's been a delight to share this with you today. So thank you from Julia and I, and we look forward to speaking to you soon.